Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying your school holidays. Welcome to our Simple Science. Here today we're going to be making Ooblek in a variety of different colours and see what we end up with. I've got here 4 bowls of corn flour, a rough amount, hopefully a bit even in each, and we're going to see if we can make a slime-like substance where, you know, if we're putting our fingers through it, it's all gooey and slimy, but if we try maybe to move it around really quickly, it'll actually be a solid and won't move a whole lot. So to make this a bit more exciting, I'm going to add some colour. So I'm going to grab some of these food dyes here and add a few drops in each of these bowls to start with. So that way we get some fun and exciting colours. So we got some green to start with, and then we'll move on to some red, my favourite colour. And we'll go some yellow. So I wonder how the yellow is going to turn out. It might be a bit light. And then finally, we'll get some blue. And I'm going to go a bit sparingly with the blue because otherwise it might end up a little bit dark. So with our corn flour already, it's quite interesting to see here that the food dye actually is trying to separate from the corn flour. It's not maybe, you know, getting all mixed in like when we'll add our water. It all wants to stay away and stay separate. So now what we've got is some water here, and I'm going to slowly add some water into each of these bowls. We'll start with our green. Now I haven't added too much water there. We're going to add some and see how we go. I'm going to get stirring here, and already it's getting really hard to stir. Might need some more water. Mix this one around, make sure we get all the corn flour in, and you can see it's changing colour straight away. Already it's wanting to not move around and be our friend. So if I try and keep stirring this one now, alright, so let's see how we go with this one. We might need to try some less water on the next experiment that we try. But when I move it around with my fingers, oh, look at that. Oh no, I've added too much water. What am I gonna do with this one? Well, that's why we've got 4 bowls. So I think we'll move on to the next one. Now we've got some messy fingers. Let's wipe those off. And we'll try a little bit less water in our red. And it's gonna be a little bit of a greeny red here, I reckon. So let's mix this one in. This one's got a bit more corn flour too, which will be good. Lovely. Making a mess. So you might need an adult's help for some of these when you're mixing. You might need a really big bowl as well, but you also probably need a space where you can make some mess. So make sure you check with an adult first where you might be able to do this one. So instead of adding a lot of water like I did last time, I'm adding water in very little increments. Trying to get all that corn flour mixed in. We're getting there. Because as we saw with the green, as soon as you add that tiny bit too much water, it just turns into liquid instead of Ooblek. Ooh, this one's becoming a bit of a slimy substance now. Oh, here we go. I think this looks looking pretty good. So, I'm going to move these ones to the side here and we'll see what we might be able to see here. So, at the moment, you look at that. It's a tiny little bit of liquid. And the more I move it, the more it becomes a liquid. But when I try and put my finger in it, it's a solid. So I can't pick it up, I can't move it, but then once it does start to move, it turns into a bit more of a liquid. Look at that. Ugh. Ugh. That's a bit of a weird substance. See it all stringing off my fingers? But then this little chunk here, it's still solid. Now it's going to stick to my fingers, and when I try and rub it off, it turns into almost water. Alright, so what we've got here is a non-Newtonian fluid. So when we apply pressure, it wants to be a solid. When I push down on it, it's almost like I can't even get to the bottom of the bowl. But as soon as I start moving it around, it becomes a liquid, and it even makes some really cool different patterns as well. A really big rippling effect. Wow, that's pretty cool. So with our red, it looks pretty cool. Now I've got some nice red fingers. So what I'm gonna do is get my yellow and my blue, put some water in. And you saw with that one that I just did with the red compared to the green, is that the green is quite, a liquidy substance. So you've got to be careful with how much you add. And it takes a bit of stirring and a bit of patience as well. So I'm gonna stir these ones up and we'll see the final results. So we've made our 4 Oobleks here. We've got yellow, red, blue and green. Now our yellow and red ones, you can see here, the yellow one is probably perfect. It's a very liquid substance when I move it around, but then when I try to touch it, you see there with the red moving around, I can't actually get into the bottom of it. Whereas with the red one, it's almost on the edge of being perfect Ooblek, but it's very slow moving. Very glossy. It's very glossy and it's very hard to get through again to the very bottom of the bowl there, even more so than the yellow. So they're our 2 good ones. Now, the red and the green, the blue and the green, we've got 2 different problems here. The green, we've added too much water. Now, if you've done this one at home and you've added too much water, you've got 2 options. You can add more corn flour, or if you've done what we've done here and we've got one that's too dry, one that's too wet, we can actually put the dry ingredients into the wet. So this blue one here, we haven't added enough water yet, and it's gone into almost little chunks. The corn flour is still kind of corn flour. In some little bits, it does feel like Ooblek, but it's definitely a bit too dry. It's just like, I don't even know, it's almost like small little rocks that have hardened up. So I'm gonna add some of this blue into the green, start stirring that one around, and not only will it change colour because we've added some blue, we'll get some nice blue speckles, but hopefully it will harden up the green to be a bit more like Ooblek. And hopefully we don't end up with a brown. So I'll add some more in, and already it's starting to harden up straight away, a bit like the yellow. I'll mix that one through. And as I'm stirring it, you can see the bottom of the bowl where it doesn't want to stick, it doesn't want to move. That's much better now. Now when I try and do it, it's still a bit slimy. You can see it on my fingers still. So add a tiny bit more. And you know what? Our green's almost now the best of the lot. Doesn't like to be touched, but it gets very liquidy. Feels almost like you're sticking your hand into quicksand. So that's almost a really good way to do it as well. So if you do add too much liquid, don't worry, because you can always save it with a bit more of either just plain corn flour, or by adding in some more of your dry Ooblek. And look at that, when I lift that up, it's still a bit slimy, but it doesn't like to be stirred up at all. In the spoon, it's even a solid there. Can't even put my finger through it on the spoon. So now it's your turn to make some Ooblek at home, or if you've gotten ahead already, I hope you're able to make some successful Ooblek at home yourself. As you can see, it's quite messy, so you probably want to put on an apron, an art smock, or some clothes that you can get messy. Now that if you've got some good weather outside, maybe it's a good chance to head outside and have some fun out in the backyard or out and about. As well, you might need a parent just to help you out with some of the ingredients too, and help you with any of that mess. But all you need is your corn flour, your water, and you'll be able to make some really fun Ooblek. So thanks for joining us here, and enjoy.